Welcome to the Spirit Science Academy. In the Spirit Science Academy, you can learn spiritual practices with the methods of science wisely. What kind of spiritual practices? If you go around the planet, either physically or online, you can find many different spiritual schools, and there are some people who can teach you Reiki, some can teach you breath work, some can teach you meditations, some can teach you shamanism, some can teach you how to walk on fire barefoot, some can teach you how to work with angels, some can teach you how to work with crystals, some can teach you shadow work, some can teach you psychotherapy, some can teach you dream magic, some can teach you in-depth analysis, some can teach you how to coach other people, some can teach you problem solving, some can teach you how to be a holistic therapist, some can teach you how to become a priest. In the Spirit Science Academy, you can learn all this as a one single comprehensive study material. You are not going to find another school similar, not even close to this, on the planet and beyond. I can promise you that. So if you enroll in the Spirit Science Academy, it is going to be the best investment in your life. Because you're investing in yourself, in your true self, in the eternal spirit that lives in that body, lives in that soul, and you can become the best possible version of yourself. I can guarantee that. You will get the value for your money. Now, let's analyze the name of the school. You might wonder, Spirit, Science, Academy, how do these three words come into the same title? How are they part of the same idea? In the old times, spirituality or religion, science, and philosophy, they were one single discipline. And now they are separated into three disciplines, all useless in their current form. And Spirit Science Academy represents this ancient knowledge in a form that is easily understandable to the seekers of the modern age. What is Spirit Sciences? It is the great-great-grandparent of all the sciences that we have today. It is the source. It is the universal religion that was before anything else. In fact, it is a synthesis of spirituality, science, and philosophy. If you observe history, it appears that spirituality and science are separated, and with that, philosophy has become an outcast. I mean, look at the universities, not just now, like 20, 30 years ago, which was the most useless subject? Philosophy. It's good for nothing. In the current form, spirituality, science, and philosophy in their current form, they're all against each other and they're all useless in their current form. The famous scientist Einstein has said that science without religion is lame and religion without science is blind. Another famous scientist, pastor, has said that the more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of Creator. And there are many other scientists with similar references, but in both of these statements, there is a secret hidden. They're not talking about it, but it's there. It's the wisdom. Because philosophy means love of wisdom. Philosophia, on Greek means love of wisdom. It's a holy love of the sacred wisdom. When you have all these components, now then you understand something about life, about existence, about anything. In the human history, when the religion was the authority, they force you to believe. That's called indoctrination. Nowadays, when the science is the authority, they force you to believe. That's called indoctrination. In both cases, there was somebody there, an authority, and they were telling you what's what and what's not, and you had to believe exactly the way they said it. If no, you were a heretic. Today, if you don't believe, you are the conspiracy theorist. What was used to the word of God today is the word of the scientist. They both require blind belief. Questioning it is a heresy and is punishable. Very famous Hungarian scientist, Dr. Szent-Györgyi Albert, Nobel Prize winner, he's the one who discovered vitamin C. He said that the greatest misconception of today's educational system is that they think that the humans' heads are there to be filled with data. They try to push all these books, all this information into humans' head, and by doing that, the human brain cannot achieve what it's supposed to be achieving. Human brain is not there to store all that data. It is there for thinking, analyzing, asking questions, problem solving. If you fill the heads with all kind of data, they cannot think. It's overburdened. There are books there to store data. There are libraries, hard drives. Now we have clouds. There are so many places you can store data, and we need to free our mind to be able to think, apply the knowledge in a wise way. That you can learn in Spirit Science Academy. So, spiritual practices with the methods of science wisely. If you have one component missing, all goes wrong. So, at the moment, both spirituality, I'm talking about the big religions especially, and the science, they all want obedient followers. They want you to worship, to believe, to keep your head down. There's always somebody above you with a stick just to make sure that the peasants are keeping their head down and they don't use their heads for thinking. In Spirit Science Academy, nobody will ask you to believe. I will ask you to not to believe. Don't believe anybody. Don't believe even me. Listen to what I say, put it to the test, and you will have your knowledge. You will know. Don't believe. I encourage you to not to believe. I encourage you to put it to the test. Okay? I teach people to not to believe. This is a three-step process. First, you believe in something. When you believe, you can be right, you can be wrong. But you are not sure, but you believe. I encourage you to, if you have a belief, put it to the test. Again and again and again. Spiritual practices with the methods of science. Wisely. Put it to the test again and again and again, and if it works, it will become knowledge. And if it becomes knowledge, at some point, it will become life. You will start to, first you believe, second you know, three, you're doing it. For thousands of years, they were forcing you to believe. They were forcing you to worship. No. Throw it all away. I encourage every student to not to believe. Put it to the test, gain your knowledge, and rise. Your belief, if you keep putting it to the test, will become a knowledge, and knowledge will eventually become the reality. And each student is a battlefield. Each student is a battlefield between the forces of illusion and the forces of Messiah. So let's analyze the title. Spiritual practices with the methods of science. What is a method of science? We do something, we do an experiment again and again and again in the same environment or a similar environment, and again and again and again, we keep getting the same result or a similar result. That's methods of science. You claim that you have a crane that can lift 1,000 kilos, and if you do it 10 times out of 10, you manage to lift 1,000 kilos with the crane, then you can give a certificate that, yeah, this crane can lift up 1,000 kilos. If you bring me, or one of my students, 10 people with a headache, and we do it in a controlled, measurable way, documented, as a scientific experiment, with the spiritual methods, let's say energy healing, in a scientific way, or recorded. Let's say we have 10 people with a headache, and we ask them, how strong is your headache on the scale from 0 to 10? 0 is no pain, 10 is very strong pain. For girls, it can be childbirth, and for the boys, it can be being kicked in the ball with a metal boots or something like that, okay? They record it, and after spending 20 minutes with each patient, all of their headache, the numbers will drop or completely go away. I am not going to ask you to believe any of it. I'm going to ask you to put it to the test, and you will see it yourself. I'm never going to ask you to believe it. I'm not a man of beliefs. I am a man of knowledge. I am an anointed priest, shaman, holistic therapist, spiritual healer, and this is all true, but I am not going to ask you to believe any of it. I'm going to ask you to put it to the test, gain your knowledge, apply it to your life, because everything that we learn here is a practical knowledge that you can use in everyday life, not some abstract thing. So the wisdom, the philosophy, like that component, is going to be a real everyday application. People don't live wisely. People's heads, the small computer, and people's heart, the big computer that is connected. People don't live wisely. They don't think wisely. People try to think cleverly, but actually, in the most times, they behave very stupidly. All the religions, they want you to believe. All the scientists want you to believe. Used to it was the word of God. Now it's the word of the science. Believe, believe, believe. No. Don't believe. They require your belief. They require your blind faith. They require your blind obedience. They require you to believe blindly in their version of the story, whatever bullshit is that, whether it's religion or science. But if you start to analyze it, if you start to ask questions, used to, you were a heretic. Today, they're going to ban you from social media if you dare to ask questions. You are a conspiracy theorist. Let's take today's science. I mean, you take religion and start to question it with the methods of science, and the whole thing falls apart. And today, same, if you start to question the mainstream science, which is a political science, what kind of science is that? If you cannot question it, it's not a science, it's a fucking religion. World is at war. It's called war on information, and you are the battlefield. And today, you watching this video, you are lucky. Because here you can get access to something that is life-changing for you. Used to, if you were a non-believer, if you dare to ask questions, if you dare to think independently, they will come after you. With inquisition, torture, witch hunt, burning alive, all this horrible stuff. Today, the science is the new religion. If you dare to question it, they will come after you with independent fact checkers and any other means that they have. So, how can we apply spiritual practices with the methods of science? We have discussed this first too. Wisely. Where is the wisdom? How can we do it wisely? Very simple. Imagine that you have a headgear. In your headgear, you put 3 filters, and you observing, evaluating, analyzing everything through those 3 filters. If one filter is missing or is dirty, you cannot fulfill the criteria. So the first filter is called the curiosity of a child. Look at the children. They look at something without any bias. Just look at it as if they're seeing for the first time. Many things they see for the first time. And although you have seen many things many times, I will ask you to look at the things as if you see them for the first time, because we all have some biases. So we will try to exclude as much bias as possible. If you have that filter, curiosity, be curious. Look at it. What is this? Forget all these attached ideas that you already know about it. Look at it as if this is the first time that you see it. The curiosity of a child, then we can exclude most of the bias. The second filter is called some knowledge. You need to have some kind of understanding about the topic. You need to know something about the topic, some kind of basic understanding how things work around the observed topic. For instance, let's talk about virus. Virus is a very popular topic today. You need to know that virus is not a microorganism. Virus is a self-replicating genetic material. For instance, that's a starting point. And the third lens, the third component, and this is where it mostly fails, is the common sense. Confucius says, when words start to lose their meaning, people start to lose their freedom. Common sense is a fake word. Common sense is not common, not even highly uncommon. It's ultra rare. People have no common sense, and this is where it mostly fails. And this is due to indoctrination. But don't worry, enroll to the Spirit Science Academy, and you can learn how to apply spiritual practices with the methods of science wisely, how to use them in everyday life, how to enrich yourself, how to become the best possible version of you. Many of you watching this have learned spiritual practices. You can be even experts on some of these. But I can guarantee you one thing: if you enroll to Spirit Science Academy and you learn, it will blow your mind. this kind of comprehensive study material you're not going to find anywhere, online or face-to-face. I can guarantee you that. If you feel that your place is not here, then don't let anybody talk you in. But if you feel that your place is here, please don't let anybody talk you out. Welcome to the Spirit Science Academy. Thank you.